everybody. I finally got the two artists here, which wasn't easy to get them both together. And I really, really thank you all for coming. I feel like I have half a person here. I don't know.
I know, he doesn't look like my
We have to
painting
make
anymore.
Mel
It's making
paint the
me a
picture
liar.
again and show how wonderful he looks.
Yeah.
There we go.
Very excited for you.
Thank you.
So I am going to let you two, let Mel have the floor.
Oh. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming. That's number one. But I wanted to say something because, you know, Trenton had this bad thing happen. But let me tell you, Trenton is a thriving community. People don't realize it. And this young man is the leader of the community. And I'll tell you the truth, I'm very glad to show with somebody. He's more than half my age. I can't believe it. But he is terrific. He's a force. And the graffiti artists of Trenton, the others who are not here, Dean Innocenzi and Jonathan Connor, and Will doesn't live here anymore.
He lives in Vermont now.
He lives in Vermont, so they're not here. But Trenton has a really thriving, very active arts community that no matter what happens, these crazy things happen all the time, let's face it. It's just the age that we live in, and because there are no adequate gun laws, so we have to live with this sort of stuff. But this is an extremely vital city. Unbelievable, in fact.
And I was lucky enough to have invited these two artists almost 2 years ago here. And just coincidentally, their art was going up right after what happened at Art All Night. And you know what? It was such a good feeling to say to them, we support you, we're here, our walls are up for you, and we're glad to have you both show.
Yeah,
and I love the fact that they both show together.
Yeah, I do too.
I'm kind of middle-aged in between now.
Yes, you are. Nobody's as old as me anymore.
So thank you all for coming and for supporting him and for enjoying the gallery with us.
Okay, thank you all for coming. Thank you.
Art is a very special thing. It really puts things together. And one of the things with the gallery and the people that we've interacted with over the years that we've run the gallery, because we've done your work up here, both your work maybe over 34 years ago, is it brings all these different communities together and gives a common. And that's a wonderful thing. So we're going to keep doing it.
Absolutely.
We're going to keep doing it. Art All Night next year?
Hopefully.
Yeah, no, Art All Night will go on next year.
Good.
It
Good.
won't stop.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. And thank you all for coming.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Say something. How did it come?
What?
Tell us more.
Tell us more.
Tell us more stuff.
How did you come up to being
Tell
together?
us more. Tell us
You
more.
were a student, right? He was your student?
He was a student of mine. So was Jonathan Lank, it's called. Will Castle was the only one I painted who was not a student of mine. But Dean was my student.
No, you have to ask people to raise your hand what they were.
Yeah.
Oh, how many were students?
How many people?
How many were students?
Raise your hand. Yeah.
Admirers.
Two we are.
Well,
And how many did you paint? You painted John Clark too. I know that.
Yes, I
picture.
painted John Clark. I maybe painted about half the
How many people did he paint here?
I painted Margaret about 7 times, and also Michael about 7 times.
How do we get on the list?
How many people did you promise you're going to paint?
I know. Yeah,
Well, we hope you keep painting.
yeah, I love it. Painting is very life-giving.
Would you talk to us a little bit about, the first time I noticed was Larry Hilton's portrait, Pow yellow, Pow red.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And here too.
In my 80s, I've changed my style. I kind of like it actually, but all of a sudden when I was painting the graffiti artists, all of a sudden I realized with this type of painting on the wall, I can't put in a blue sky, it looks stupid. So I ended up putting a yellow sky, and one of the paintings is an orange sky. Now I sometimes even put in a green sky. So I've started using brilliant color. And I think it's, I have the same attitude, I think, towards space, and I'm a realist, actually, but I want to use brilliant color now. What the hell? That's right. Yeah, and I'll tell you one thing, anybody who's painted, I'm learning things about, I'm 83 and I'm still learning things about painting. It's unbelievable. You can't, it's a thing you got to do in order to learn about.
Never
Because
stop
there are 5 million ways to paint, you know? And these guys are terrific. I mean, they're really an unbelievable force. And, Trenton has 2 museums, It has the New Jersey State Museum that Margaret represents. She's the director. It has the Trenton City Museum in the park, and it has Artworks, which is really doing a very good job now. And they were really, they felt very bad about what happened. But you can't let this type of thing affect you. That can't be done. It's just out of the question. Accidents happen. They haven't closed all the schools in America because there are worse murders that go on in the schools. It's a thing that happens. It's the nature of this society, really, in a way, I guess. And I do think it's because all these guns are so available to everybody under the sun. But
Leon, would you talk a little bit about whether you go back and forth with your watercolor and your spray paint, or some are earlier preceded, or what you do there?
Okay, so I guess I just want to say, that I'm really excited about showing with Mel. He was one of my teachers, and I'm grateful to be able to, carry on the tradition of Trenton painters and artists.
A little louder.
Okay. And basically, it's just like Mel was saying, I'm continuously learning. I think I started doing watercolors about 10 years ago, and I really kind of use the same aesthetic, use the same process, but just, try to take advantage of the differences in mediums as far as the watercolors, like the washes, and, being able to kind of do different effects that you can't or aren't as easily obtainable with acrylics as spray paint. And, just enjoying working smaller. I've worked on the watercolors during the same time that I've done the acrylic pieces, but I kind of do those more in the winter time when I just want to use a little bit less space and kind of just sit back and just kind of play around with it, on a smaller scale. And sometimes it allows me to kind of, get out some of my ideas and, kind of play with the different colors while not working on such a large scale, But, I've really found that they've been, it's like once you're an artist, you can change mediums, or you can kind of incorporate different things into your work, but it's kind of like you have already the tools that you need. You just have to kind of, I feel like I just like to evolve and try out different things, and just explore and create, and I think that's the important part about painting. That's what I really enjoy is trying out different ideas and techniques and styles, and I really, like I said, I really respect Mel. Just by him painting me, I learned a lot from him. And he's, although I never had him for painting, I've always admired his work. And I respect, everything that he's done for our city as far as, he was the first. I feel like him and Lou and those guys were the people that really started the Trenton movement in the 80s. Yeah. And then, I feel like that we're trying to continue on that tradition and just move it into a little bit of a different style, you know. And I'm grateful for the other artists that are in the city, we do have a thriving art scene, and a lot of the graffiti and street artists, I feel like we're kind of leading the charge in a lot of the creative aspects of what's going on in the city. We're big in urban murals and stuff like that, and I hope that keep people continue to create. I know I have, and I'm going to continue. I love Trenton as a city and this region as well. I travel all over and paint and do different projects, throughout the country and stuff. But I feel like Trenton is my home, and I really want to try to, I try to bring other artists, just as Mell has obviously brought people up over the years, taught a lot of different artists. I don't necessarily do it in this formal setting, but I try to inspire, teach, and work with up-and-coming artists.
You're not moving to Vermont.
Not me.
Not
yet. Not yet. He hasn't got me up there yet.
No, that's not okay, but yeah.
It's cold up there.
Yeah, it is cold up there. If I was going to move, I would move back to California, I guess. But no time soon.
Leon, you happy with the new mayor?
Yes, absolutely. I feel like,
I'm going to paint the mayor.
I would.
good.
There you go.
I just saw him today. He wants me to paint him. I'm going to paint him.
Excellent.
In City Hall.
I know. Yeah, absolutely.
People don't realize, by the way, if you've ever been to City Hall, there's a huge mural by Everett Shen, he was part of the original 8, these artists at the beginning of the 20th century who actually made city painting, a center. And he did a mural that's unbelievably fantastic. I don't know why the city doesn't capitalize on it, because it deals with the industries of the city, and it's gorgeous there.
It's in Chambers, right?
Yeah, it's in Council Chambers.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
You're gonna paint Leon again.
Yes, I gotta paint Leon
You're gonna paint
again.
Leon again.
I gotta paint him again. He doesn't look like this anymore. It looks like I lied.